Mr. Musa is a very wealthy man from the north in Nigeria, and he's rich in cattle, rich in farms like farmland. He has so many farm produce that he sells. Like, he's very wealthy. He has his own companies. He even has an airline. And although the airline is not functioning again in Nigeria, but he does have an airline. He had this beautiful wife, very beautiful, very, very beautiful wife, who happened to work in a very, popular firm. And she had this boss who was always making advances at her, but she did not catch the drift. So whenever they are going for, office trips, she goes with the boss and some other office staff. But they never had any issues. There was no problem, and she never knew that the man was hitting on her, was liking her. She never knew. She thought it was just a normal thing where somebody, maybe because she's a hardworking person. And but Mrs. Musa is someone that when you see her, according to how her husband described her, when you see her, she will actually make heads turn. You must turn to look at her. She was beautiful, tall, fair, and somebody that is very, very jovial. Like, she plays with everybody around her. So most people tend to take that her being free and playful for wanting to be around some people, that kind of stuff. So the boss had, scheduled one trip like that. It was within Nigeria, and they traveled, and they stayed in the same hotel, not in the same room, but in the same hotel they lodged. And they did the reason they came, they did their, investigations and all that in the different companies and establishments they visited to just do, they were kind of doing a kind of census. So when they did everything, they came back and everything was fine. No, nothing was amiss. So when the man now decided to start sending Mrs. Musa messages, calling her odd times, and she'll pick the call, they will talk. Because she wanted to be respectful, it was her boss. The husband thought it was just a boss calling, you know, during off times, and he didn't take anything to heart. So when Mr. Musa now met the wife one of the days, making a call by the staircase, and she was already on her 90s. So he just saw her make call, and he passed, went downstairs, drank, took water, a bottle of water, came upstairs. And he was just hearing, the conversation was not like a boss and a staff conversation. So he didn't still make sense of anything, because it was after everything happened that he began to put one and two to remember all of these things I'm telling you now. So they now booked for a trip to travel out, this time out of the country. So they traveled out, and the wife and her boss had to do, like they had intercourse and all that. So when Mrs. Musa came back, the guilt didn't let her rest. She was so uncomfortable. She came back and she now asked the husband that, is there anything she will ever do that he won't forgive her? The husband was wondering, what did you do? What's going on? Talk to me. She was just keeping to herself. When the husband comes, like, how a woman will travel, when she comes back, the husband will want to touch her. She said no. She kept to herself. She was just keeping to herself, and she didn't want to have anything to do with her husband. So the husband now asked her, what is it that is making you sound like this, make all these comments, pass all these comments? You've been passing some weird comments. What's going on? She said nothing, that she just scared for her life. So the husband said, since you came back on this trip, you've just been talking about being scared for your life. What is really the problem? You can talk to me. That she doesn't want to lose her marriage. The husband said, you can't lose your marriage. I don't even believe in divorce. Whatever it is that you did, we can always sort it out. Or whatever it is that is a problem, we'll sort it out. She now asked the husband if he's sure. The man said, whatever it is, they will sort it out. Okay, well, tell me, at least, the man said she should tell him what at least happened, so that he will know from where he's judging the matter. So she kept crying that she cannot, and she can't even tell anybody outside their marriage. Okay, you can't tell anybody outside the marriage. What is that thing now? Just tell me. That the man should tell him, since he's the husband and he's inside the marriage, he's not outside. That's when she opened up and told the husband that when they traveled, her boss decided that she would stay in a different room. She stayed in a different room. But she discovered that the room where they kept her, there were some strange people that were coming around there doing some kind of too. She was scared. She now told the boss. The boss now said she should come to her room. So to his room rather. So she came to his room, and it was this double bed that was on the distance. So she now slept in the other side. So she was not, at first she did not agree to sleep there because she's married and all. But her boss said no, it's not a problem, that she should just be comfortable there. So the next morning, the hotel people had already gone to fix what that was and made the door such that nobody is knocking when they're not supposed to knock. So she went back to her room. It was okay. So at that point, the boss came back and said that she mentioned that the boss said that when she came to the room to lie, that he was beginning to think about everything and all. So she now said no, that no, nothing like that. They're trying to, the boss said just she should just come. He wants to tell her something. And that was when she went there. And the boss now decided to offer her some money, which she declined and said she didn't want the money. She had everything she needed. She didn't want the money. So the boss now decided that if she doesn't do what he had asked her to do, that something will go wrong. So she now felt that the boss now sounded as if he wanted to betray, that and blackmail her to her husband, that they slept in the same room, which was true. And now the boss had gone as far as saying that he had pictures of her in the same room, even though it's in the different bed, but in the same room. So she now said no, she doesn't want to do anything with the boss. So she now told the boss that the boss has been kind to her. The boss has been sending her monies in hard currency, that she doesn't. The boss there, and that's why he is now asking her for just one favor, and she needed to give the favor. So she now felt that she now started telling the husband that the weather was now cold, or she was just saying too many things. So eventually she slept with this man. So the husband now said, oh, is it what I'm thinking? You slept with the man? She said yes. She slept with the man. So the guy now kept quiet for a while. Mr. Musa kept quiet for a very long time. So she now was telling him that she's sorry. She started crying and kneeling and all. So the man now said, well, that he cannot have anything to do with her carnally, like intercourse for now, that they have to go through therapy. The guy took the wife through therapy, and she came out of it. She was not still happy. He tried his best to always make her happy. He took her out often. How did we know about this story? Because the woman never told anybody, the man never told anybody. It was during one, radio station program, Charles B. The late Charles B. Those of you who know Charles B in Nigeria, you remember very well that this matter was discussed. They asked the man, when the man told the story, they asked him, how are you still married to the woman? He said yes. How were you able to go through this part? The man now said, well, that human beings can be tempted. Your inability to overcome that temptation is what is more important. But right now that the wife has gone through this, he had to give her moral support. That he said, when you take the vow, when you hear for better for worse, it's cases like that. That if it were him that the wife caught him doing a thing like that, or even came to confess, that the wife would have forgiven him. Or how would he have felt if he was the one coming to cry to the wife and the wife would not forgive? But that it took him some time, he didn't sleep with the wife, for him to be able to heal. And that was how this man, the wife, immediately, the wife had resigned from that, because they asked him if the wife still works in that office. He said no, she had resigned. He made her to resign, and he made the man to know that he knows, and that he now made the man to know that whatever it is he is planning to do, he is aware, and that if he tries anything, he will bring him down. That he has every details of what happened, the chat and everything, because the wife sent it to him. Then the man now started begging, called a few friends, and he came to beg the Mr. Musa, because he was very influential, begged him, and that's how everything was sorted out. Bottom line is they are still supportive partners out there.